Good evening and welcome to Sunset News. In this program, we bring you news, community stories, economic indicators, weather forecast, as well as sports. I am Glenna Rashipura. Now, in the news tonight, the Institute for Policy Research regularly publishes Perspective on Parliament, a bulletin of their Democracy Report project. It deals with issues related to the legislative agenda of the Namibian Parliament. The April issue is about the members of the National Assembly who actually have to submit a declaration of their wealth to the Secretary of the National Assembly by April 30th of each year. However, non-compliance and lax enforcement of this deadline has now become the norm. After examining MP's declaration of assets and interests in January 2022, it emerged that most MPs had not yet made a declaration for the 2021 to 2022 financial year. As the government's fiscal year comes to a close at the end of March every year, the fact that many MPs had still not made statements after 10 months into the 2021 to 2022 fiscal year indicated that the handling of the list of members' interests of the Secretariat of the National Assembly continues to give cause for concern, says the IPPR report. Now, the Namibia Economic Freedom Fighters has demanded that President Hage Geingob recall Labour Minister Utoni Nuyoma, saying he has served his purpose and is no longer useful to advance the interests of workers. This follows a verbal altercation involving its economic commissar, Michael Amushelelo, and Nuyoma over the former's announcement visit to companies over labour matters. Now, Amushelelo this week called Nuyoma useless during a meeting held between the NEFF and Labour Ministry. Let's take a look.
He has been aided to run on the bandwagon of his father's name and never on meritocracy. He remains the same man that sold out land to the foreigners. Remember, just a few years back, when he sold a farm here to these Russian men, and this is the same person who is protecting the white monopoly capital in exploiting our workers. It is under his helm that Namibians continue to be molested by the Chinese national. It is under his stewardship that we have a labor crisis in the name of international conventions. The bundle of joy has never worked for anything as privileged political elite. NEF leadership will consider other avenues to engage the technical staff of the ministry to ensure that the pride of our workers and their issues are addressed.
In our next story, not much further rain is expected for the rest of April, although it is possible for the southern parts of Namibia to receive light rain in the second week of May from a frontal system bringing cloudy and cooler conditions. Agricultural meteorologist Johan van den Berg says the current La Nina phenomenon remains strong, especially for this time of the year. La Nina/El Nino usually weakens in the autumn to winter months, he says. He says the probability for a full-scale La Nina to continue is about 50%, which is significantly better than the normal occurrence of about 20% to 30%. The manner in which mineral extraction takes place in Africa, whereby most of the exploration and ultimate mining of these products invariably is done by former colonial masters, is often regarded as post-colonialism. So more than 30 years after the first report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change was published in 1990, the word colonialism has finally made its way into the IPCC's sixth assessment report. Now, the panel's Working Group 2 report, which looks at the impact of climate change on people, listed colonialism not only as a driver of climate crisis, but also as an ongoing issue that is exacerbating communities' vulnerability to it. Now, the IPCC publishes a summary of policymakers alongside every report. This is the document world leaders look at when COP is seriously debated and considered during the annual UN climate meeting. The inclusion of that single word could over time have a serious impact on the exploration firm Recon Africa, or for that matter, it might one day cost Canadian taxpayers to pay for damages caused by one of their own. Look at these first few minutes of this video to understand why.
Stretching across more than 800,000 square kilometers, Namibia boasts some of the world's most pristine landscapes, hosting an abundance of precious plant and wildlife species. Many visit from far and wide to experience the breathtaking scenery and diverse group of people rich with history and culture. Amongst its many natural treasures is the Okavango River flowing through the Kavango region, located in the northeastern corner of Namibia. The Okavango River plays an integral role in the survival of the Kavango people. With an abundance of freshwater fish, the river serves as an ideal source of sustenance for locals, as well as a point of interest for avid anglers visiting the surrounding tourist destinations. Agriculture also forms part of its many purposes. The fertile soil along the river allows for the cultivation of sorghum, millet, and maize. The Okavango is undoubtedly the hub of the region's economic activity, a reliable water source and breadbasket. But with the current oil and gas explorations in the Kavango, it's not certain that Namibia's natural beauty and abundant resources will remain untainted. In early 2020, Reconnaissance Energy Africa, also referred to as Recon Africa, kicked off site preparations at Kawe and Mambi villages in the Kavango East region. According to Recon Africa, the undertaking entails drilling 3 conventional stratigraphic wells and conducting a low-impact 2D seismic program to determine if there's a working petroleum system in the Kavango Basin. However, it's alleged that Recon Africa will be fracking.
Okay, so fracking is, relatively speaking, the latest extraction technology in the oil and gas industry. Previously, what we would call conventional oil and gas wells, we would drill into a very porous, permeable reservoir rock, so we could just put a straw into that rock and the deep pressures can push the fluids to the wellbore and to the surface. And you don't need to stimulate the reservoir to create man-made porosity and permeability to get that oil and gas out. Now, oil and gas is generated in an organic rich rock that as you bury it, the deep pressures and temperatures will cook the organic material, and this is what bubbles off the oil and gas, one oil droplet, one gas molecule at a time. Now, oil and gas is buoyant in the subsurface, so it sort of through time makes its way through the subsurface and then hopefully finds one of those conventional traps. This frac technology allowed us to target these organic rich source rocks that tend to be very tight. So if we drill a traditional well into it, none of the oil and gas will flow to the wellbore. So instead, we have to drill these long horizontals to get a lot of, in a sense, surface area through that organic rich source rock. And then we do these multiple breakings of the rock, the fracking of the rock that creates man-made permeability. So now that oil and gas can flow to the wellbore. And essentially,
the wife, 2 children and daughter-in-law of late Gerhard van Wyk, who was allegedly fatally shot by Harvey Bolter last year, is suing the British billionaire for damages amounting to 84.5 million Namibian dollars. Bolter has already notified the Windhoek High Court that he will be defending the claims, but he has not yet filed pleadings. The family is demanding compensation on various grounds, including alleged loss of support, loss of income, and allegedly being subjected to intolerable living conditions. Bolter will make his first appearance on a charge of murder in the same court on 19th May. Now, Van Wyk was employed as the farm's manager on Bolter's farm. Bolter claims he was trying to defend himself during a struggle when the fatal shot was fired. Now, Petrus Amutenu and Franz Unona, who are known for the mural of the Gemsbok, which is being chased by a cheetah, are currently busy in Windhoek with another large-scale creation. The wall is at the Sneeman Circle, and the pair is busy painting a face of a woman. According to Unona, they were approached by Namibia Diaries to make the painting as part of the company's cultural collection National Consumer Promotion, through which Nam Mills culture range, consisting of Oshitaka, Omaere, and Oshikandela, are celebrating culture. Altogether, there will be 3 murals done in Windhoek by Alina Mateke at the Holy Cross Convent Primary School, Petrus Yeru Amutenu at John Minot, and Franz Unona at the Old Breweries Building. Now, in community news tonight, FNB Namibia warns clients against scams. More on this right after the break.
Have you received a loan from NASFAF? NASFAF loan is the same as any other loan. It must be paid and settled. NASFAF has a set of guidelines on how you can repay your loan and become debt-free. Therefore, it is important that you, a former beneficiary and a responsible Namibian, show your patriotism by helping pay back your loan and thus helping NASFAF become a revolving fund for the benefit of future potential students. By failing to pay back your NASFAF loan, you risk being blacklisted or having a court order against you. So arrange with the fund to pay back your loan today. For more information on how you can repay your loan, visit our website at www.nasfaf.na or visit our Facebook page or Twitter. Do the right thing and hashtag #paybackthemoney.
You are watching Sunset News. We now delve into our community talk. FNB Namibia has again warned clients against e-wallet scams. Here, Communications Manager Elzita Biekus explains. Let's take a look.
A new scam has emerged where fraudsters access and manage customers' e-wallet accounts on the FNB app. We have seen this new scam making the rounds and urge our customers to take note of how it works to protect themselves. We'd like to tell our customers that the OTP is sufficient control as it seeks authorization of the account or the wallet holder. As with any PIN or password, do not give your OTP to anyone, as this step is crucial to protecting your funds. If anyone calls you claiming to be from the bank and asks you for your OTP or PIN or password of any kind, hang up the phone immediately and report the incident to the bank. We reiterate again that FNB will never request any security information from you over the phone, and you in turn should never give out any information over the phone. Please remain vigilant in this time and protect your hard-earned cash.
In our story of the day, we look at the groundbreaking ceremony on the charcoal plant, which is being constructed at Arandis. More on this right after the break.
Go far with Paratus. Go further with Paratus Fiber. Paratus, offering high-speed, reliable fiber connectivity, starting from only $599 Namibian per month. Unlimit your lifestyle and visit na.paratus.africa for more information.
Always prepared. Paratus.
Thank you for staying with Sunset News. We now take a look at our story of the day. The Deputy Minister of Urban and Rural Development, Natalia Gohases, was present at the groundbreaking ceremony on the charcoal plant, which is being constructed at Arandis. Micheline Nawatises was there. Let's take a look.
One can see it's a huge production taking place here. You can see already the number of workers already employed on site. Something is a central government representative on behalf of all those line ministries responsible for the function, like Ministry of Trade and Industry. I want to once again express on behalf of the government of the Namibian Republic to the leadership of Arandis Town Council for their visionary leadership to have availed this 1.5 hectare land for this fabric to be established. I want to also, in the same vein, extend our gratitude to our partners in development. The two directors who are present, who are flanking me, Haiti and Cedric, for having trust in Arandes to bring this huge development. As I said, that would contribute to the GDP of our country, that would create 60 jobs already confirmed, and also plowback, very, very important in the community. As I said earlier on, this is something that we value highly. This is value addition. These things will not go out in the raw form as it is. The fabric here will process it, it will be packed, and then we can start doing business. We can take out the Namibian barcode. Yes. Absolutely. So thank you very much once again for this huge development to all the stakeholders.
In economic news, after the break, we talk about some growth in the mining sector. We also look at economic indicators. This is Sunset News. Do stay with us. You are still watching Sunset News. We now take a look at our economic news. The Chamber of Mines of Namibia held its annual general meeting on 27 April 2022, revisiting its efforts to help government and its resilience to continue to grow through a difficult 2021 marked by the continuing COVID-19 pandemic in Namibia. Now, the mining sector recorded growth of 13.6% last year, helping the national economy bounce back from a retraction of 8.5% in 2020 to achieve growth of 2.4% in 2021. Next up is our economic indicators. The Namibian dollar is up against the British pound and the euro, down against the US, and stayed the same against the Chinese yuan. On the stock exchange, MTC, First Rand, and Letshego Holdings are all down. Trustco Group is also down. At the local index is down, and the overall index is up with 0.54%. On the commodities market, gold is down, while all the others strengthened. Brent crude oil with 2.5%. Tomorrow's weather forecast follows right after the break. Let's take a look at our weather predictions. Rain is predicted for almost the entire north, and Enana is still the hottest at 38 degrees. The central coast varies between 16 and 25 degrees. Rain is also predicted for large parts of the south of the country. In the international news slot, we go to South Africa and hear what Mek Maharaj had to say on Freedom Day yesterday. You're watching Sunset News, and here is your international news. As the Rainbow Nation marked on Wednesday the 28th anniversary of its first democratic elections, Maharaj, who spent more than a decade alongside Mandela in the Robben Island prison, warned of tough times for South Africa. Freedom Day, which is locally celebrated on 27 April, marks the day South Africa held its first fully democratic elections in 1994. It also marks the end of colonialism, of white minority rule, and the establishment of a government headed by Nelson Mandela and a state subjected to a new constitution. Now, the anti-apartheid activist said during an interview to the AFP, the SA democracy was faced with a conjunction of different crises. The country grapples with graft, poverty, and record unemployment issues. If Maharaj led the ANC underground operation during the struggle years, he regretted that the ruling party had since fallen out of touch with the people. Mandela's former transport minister suggests renewal inside the party. He then called the authorities to draw lessons from mistakes of the past with a vast experience accumulated in order to continue South Africa's journey on the walk to freedom it took on 1994. In sports, after the break, we look at Peter Shaulilile, Ninja Karongi, and boxing in Omaruru. Stay with us. You're watching Sunset News, and this is your sports news. Namibian international Peter Shaulilile added another South African Premiership accolade to his collection as his club Mamelodi Sundowns won their 5th straight league title last night. Shaulile's goal-scoring form helped the Brazilians clinch to their title. Now, Sundowns, however, went into the game needing a point against Cape Town City. Shaulilile did not have the best of games, but a clean sheet and a goalless draw proved enough for the South African Giants with games to spare. Now, former African Stars footballer Ninja Karongi is devoting his time in nurturing young footballers. Karongi, who is operating a football academy at Ochomwise, says that there are many talented Namibians that need to be assisted in becoming global stars. Now, the former player hopes that sponsors will come on board and assist him in making the dreams of young players a reality. I will really appreciate any sponsorship at the moment in order to acquire equipment, which will be vital in developing the footballers, Karongi said. Stone Boxing Club will host a boxing bonanza at the Mamboka Stadium in Omaruru this coming weekend. The event will see about 6 boxing clubs trading leather on 30th April. The event will mainly consist of amateur boxers. Intelligence Boxing Academy, Military School, Osona Boxing Club, After School Center, Walvis Bay, Swakopmund, and Stone Boxing Club form part of those that will be in action. Adults will pay 50 Namibian dollars per gate, while high school children pay 30 Namibian dollars at the gate. Entry fee for primary school children is 10 Namibian dollars. Headlines Boxing headlining to Omaruru. Now the highlights right after the break. You're watching Sunset News. To conclude the program, here are tonight's highlights. Non-compliance and lax enforcement of this deadline has now become the norm after examining MP's declaration of assets and interests in January 2022. It emerged that most MPs had not yet made a declaration for the 2021 to 2022 financial year. The Namibia Economic Freedom Fighters has demanded that President Hage Geingob recall Labour Minister Utoni Nuyoma, saying he has served his purpose and is no longer useful to advance the interests of workers. Mushelelo this week called Nuyoma useless during a meeting held between the NEFF and the Labour Ministry. Not much further rain is expected for the rest of April, although it is possible for the southern parts of the Namibia to receive light rain in the second week of May from a frontal system bringing cloudy and cooler conditions. And with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast. Make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook on all the NMH platforms on weekdays, as well as on our website, oneup2.com. Sunset News screens on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 94 every weekday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. I am Glenora Shipura, and this has been Sunset News. Don't end your day without us.